Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamana Yapurnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti. It is unfortunate that we are born with this totally contradictory perception of ourselves. We are born with this perception, not that we have created. So, we are born with this totally contradictory perception of ourselves, where we look upon ourselves as totally opposite to what we are. And what's the reason? Reason is ignorance, because of which I take what I am not to be myself, namely body or mind. And thus what is necessary is to remove that ignorance that causes these misconceptions. So on the page 40, yesterday we read the question was, Nanu Jivan Muktah Kaha? Who is the Jivan Mukta, liberated by living? Page 40, answer was given. Yatha dehoham, purushoham, brahmanoham, shudroham smiti, dhrudanishchaya. Just as I am convinced that I am the body, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a brahmana, kshatriya, etc., etc. That is a dhrudanishchaya, is a firm conviction. That is, if you wake me up midnight, ask me, who are you? I am so and so. That I am a brahmana, or I am a purusha, I am a man, I am a woman, I am tall, I am short. All of these are dhrudanishchaya, a firm conviction I have, which is totally contrary to my nature, but that is the firm wrong conviction I have. Similarly, firm conviction arises that I am Brahman. Now, I am a Brahmana or Shudra, I am not, that's the nature of the body. Na Purusha, na Stri, that I am not Purusha or Stri, I am not a man or woman. Into Asanga, unconnected to the body, unconnected to the mind, Satchidananda Swarupa, Satchit Ananda, existence, consciousness, fullness is my nature. Prakasha Rupa, of the nature of consciousness, Sarvantaryami, self of all. When that dhrudanishchaya, that firm conviction arises in me, then I am a liberated person. So this is the nature of the knowledge of the wise person. And that is the nature of, that is our nature. It is not a privilege of a wise person that he is like this. Each one of us is like this. But he knows what the true nature is. That Naham Brahmana, I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Shudra, I am not a Purusha, I am not a Stri, I am not a woman, man, etc. I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, then who are you? I am unconnected to all of them. I am the existence, I am the awareness, happiness I am the self of all. That is his conviction. So one who possesses this immediate conviction is liberated. That is, liberated means now he no more feels sense of limitedness. No more feels a sense of separateness from others. What creates a sense of separateness from this to that is my identification of the body, therefore I confine myself to the body. On account of taking the body to be myself, I confine myself to the body. Because what's the dimension of I? That I really does not have any dimension at all, does not have any boundary, does not have any limitation. It is self-shining, self-effulgent, therefore consciousness. But I, by identifying with this body of mine, I confine myself to this and then feel a sense of separateness. So that is something created. When it goes away, there is no separateness in life at all. There is no division. That's called duality. No separateness, no duality. Here, when I come in front of you, right away a duality is created that you are different and I am different. That's an immediate response from my mind. You are different, I am different. That is called division, that you are what I am not what you are and you are not what I am. Means there is a mutual exclusion. I exclude you and you exclude me. Thus we always feel being excluded. Not that that is really so, but that is because I have managed to confine myself to this upadhi or body-mind complex. When that is not there, but that is just created by ignorance, that is not there, then the sense of separateness, sense of division, loneliness, nothing, or isolation doesn't remain. So Swami, big problem is isolation, loneliness, true. But in self there is no isolation, no loneliness. What is just one. So this knowledge will eliminate all the problems. And problems are basically emotional problems. Other problems are treatable. But the emotional problems are created basically because of my complexes, because of the ignorance. I become free from all those problems. Now, as I was saying yesterday, this liberation of freedom is described as freedom from bondage of karma. I said, in the Hindu Sanskriti, in the Hindu dharma, the tradition, this karma is a very important aspect of cause and effect. Karma or action is a cause, and what we are is the effect. So yesterday also we discussed this talk about the bondage of karma. How karma binds me. We described yesterday that I perform the karma. Karma means action. I perform a deliberate action and then I become accountable for experiencing the result of the action. I can't escape. Action is good, the result is good. Action is evil, result is evil. As you sow, so you reap. It's a simple law of cause and effect. This is called bondage. That I have to experience the result of what I did. This is not meant to create guilt feeling, not meant to create or blaming another. This is simply told to us to understand life. That for whatever there is a cause. whatever it is that is in the present must have a cause in the past. What that cause was, I do not know. That I am the cause, maybe, but then I don't know what karma I perform, when I perform. Therefore, this is not meant for us to feel a sense of guilt, not meant to blame somebody. It is only meant to explain this law of cause and effect, that when something happens, there must be a cause, and that cause is karma which I must have performed. But then I go a few steps further and so I am like this and I did this and I sense, there is sense of guilt, sometimes sense of pride, sometimes sense of arrogance. All of this comes. This is called bondage. So doing something and experiencing them is not the bondage. But I did it. But I am experiencing, that is the bondage. So karma is not the bondage. The karta, the doer of the karma, that I did the karma, this notion creates the bondage. Understand this? Even though that they say that karma binds you, action binds you, action does not bind. If something binds me, it is this notion that I perform the action. But Swamiji, I did perform the action. Okay. If you perform the action, then you are accountable for the outcome. That's all. But Vedanta teaches that even you do not perform the action. That's the ultimate. If I do not perform, who performs action, Swamiji? If I am not talking, Atma is not talking, who is talking? The answer is that it is the organ of speech that is talking in presence of Atma, in presence of the self. When we lump them together and then say that Atma, so ahankar, vimudha kartahamiti manyate. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, prakritehe kriyamanani gunahi karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudha kartahamiti manyate. All karma, the actions are performed by these products of matter, prakriti. The body, mind, sense complex is what performs all the karma in presence of the self. But then ignorant person lumps them together and concludes that I perform the karma. The reality is that the body performs karma, the mind performs karma, the sense organs perform karma. What is my role? In my presence. And therefore what binds is, I brand myself as the agent of action, as performer of action. You follow? Action does not bind. It is my notion that I am the performer of action that is what sticks that action to me and then makes me accountable for the result. If I did not perform action, I am not accountable for the result also. In fact, you and I don't perform action. The wise person says, in the Bhagavad Gita he says, Neva kinchit karomiti, I do not do anything. Pashyan while seeing, shrunan while hearing, eating, drinking, walking, talking. He says, I do not do anything. But hey, you are saying this. He says, I do not say anything. But you are saying it, you know. He says, I do not say anything. I do not talk anything. He was talking. So we think that he is talking. He knows that his organ of speech is talking and he is just the presence. This is the reality for everybody. So only for a wise person is reality for everybody that this karma, in fact, the Atma does not perform. But then, identifying Atma with this karma, we call ourselves the doer of action. And then we have all these complexes. So one is free from this notion. So then karma never did not bind to begin with. What created bondage was that I am performing karma. When that is not there, then karma keeps taking place without his involvement anyway, and therefore karma doesn't bind. So, page 41, let us read the first line. Okay, we read it yesterday, we'll read it again. Brahmaiva aham asmi iti aparokshajnanena nikhila karma bandha vinirmuktihi syat. Aparoksha jnanena, by immediate knowledge. Brahmaiva ahamasmi, I am Brahman alone, but the immediate knowledge that I am Brahman alone. What is the immediate knowledge? Aparoksha jnanam. You must have heard this term, aparoksha jnanam, immediate knowledge. This is pratyaksha jnanam, paroksha jnanam, aparoksha jnanam. Three categories are there. The perceptual knowledge that comes with our sense organs of perception, like seeing, hearing, the sound, the touch, the taste, color, form, smell, all we experience is called perceptual knowledge. Pratyaksham, perception. Pratyaksha, paroksha, those things that are beyond the range of sense organs. The knowledge of them is called paroksha, indirect knowledge. And so what's happening maybe in Montreal, what's happening in Australia, you see, or hear about that, that's all paroksha jnanam. You've not seen it, but you heard about it. So thus there are two categories of objects, two categories of things, those that are in front of him immediate and those that are away from him. Pratyaksha and paroksha, that covers everything. Right? There is one entity that is not covered. In pratyaksha, which is the object of my perception. Paroksha, indirect, which is beyond the range of my perception. These two categories of knowledge. That includes the whole universe, understand? But that does not include one entity. Which is that entity? Myself. So what is the nature of knowledge of self? It's called aparoksha. Pratyaksha is that in front of me, the object of perception. I am not objective for myself. Paroksha, that is remote, I am not remote. I am immediate. So therefore I am called aparoksha. And therefore, this knowledge of self is always aparoksha jnanam. I know myself as immediate, that I am man, woman, the immediate knowledge. Except that we say here, when I say I am a man, that I am is the nature of myself. This man is the nature of the body, and I'm lumping them together. When that viveka or discrimination happens, I realize what is my nature is I am. To know myself as I am. Simple. Say yesterday is not exciting. It's I am, that's all I am, Swamiji. I thought that, you will say I am great, I am limitless, but I am includes all that. I am has no dimension. I am has no boundary. There is no limit. So I am is limitless, self-shining, self-existent. So to know myself just as I am, I shine, I love myself. Ahamasmi, sadabhami, kadachit, nahamapya. One verse says, I am, everybody knows that I exist, that I am conscious, and that I always love myself. That I exist, we know, I am conscious, we know, and I always love myself. However I am always the object of love for myself. Love for you is conditional. I love you as long as you are helpful to me, favorable to me, smiling at me, helping me. So long you remain the object of my love. Start hating me, then you are no more object of love. Meaning that anything other than myself, I love only conditionally, as long as they are agreeable to me, favorable to me, helpful to me. Love for myself is unconditional. So this is when I'm conscious and of the nature of unconditional love. That is the knowledge. By just knowing that, I become free from all karma, bondage of karma. By knowing that, I become free from the notion of that I am karta. That I don't perform actions, actions get performed in my presence. That is what my knowledge is. And that knowledge makes me free from all karma. Because karma doesn't bind me, kartrutva binds me. Action does not bind me. That I am the karta, agent of action, that notion binds me. When that notion is not there, then there is nothing to bind me. Nikhil karma, bandha vinirmukti syat, becomes liberated from all the bondage of karma. And so this liberation in Vedanta is described as liberation from the bondage of karma. We should not call it bondage of karma, bondage of karta, bondage of the agent of karma. Looking upon myself as agent of karma is what binds me. Karma does not bind me. So when you say he becomes liberated from bondage of karma, then naturally the question of karma comes. So I think that's a very favorite topic of all Indians, karma. So now on the page 41, we can read the next line. Karmani katividhani santi iti ched agami sanchita prarabdha bhedena trividhani santi. Karmani katavidhani santi iti ched. If the question is, how many kinds of karma there are? How many kinds of karma there are? So karma is divided into three categories. Answer is given, agami, sanchita, prarabdha vedena, trividhani sanchi. The answer is, there are three types. One is called agami, other is called sanchita, third is called prarabdha. A little bit of Sanskrit if you know, it would help. Agami. See, gam means to go. Gam means to go, gati is going. Agami means coming. So those who come in future are called agami. Prarabdha. Pra plus arabdha. Arabdha means that which is begun. Arambha, beginning. Arabdha begun, prarabdha very well begun. So that karma which has already begun to give rise to its fruits is called prarabdha, destiny we call it. Sanchita, chayanam. Chi or chayanam means to collect, to accumulate. Chitam, that which is accumulated. Sanchitam, very well accumulated. The karmas that we have very well accumulated in the past are called sanchita. So what is it is that I keep on performing a variety of karma. By karma I mean deliberate actions. Like this talking is a deliberate action. And when I perform a deliberate action, there is going to be an outcome of that action. And that I am accountable for experiencing that outcome. If I say something good, make you happy, I will have that outcome. Say something bad, make you unhappy, that will be the outcome. So, the karma that I can perform can be either a good karma, virtuous karma, punya karma, pious action, or the opposite, which is vicious action. So punya and papa. Punya, virtue. Papa, vice. Punya karma, papa karma. So this is well known, right? Punya and papa, virtue and vice. So two kinds of karmas I can perform. I can perform punya karma, virtuous actions. The result is happiness. Papa karma, vicious actions. Result is unhappiness. So we can say in general, now not to create complex, it's just simple. The cause and effect is that when we are experiencing happiness, we can say generally that this is the result of the fructification of past good karma I must have performed. Past punya karma, when they fructify, they result into happiness in the present. And past papa karma, vicious actions, when they fructify in the present, then they give rise to pain or unhappiness. Dukkha. Sukham, dukkham. Punya, virtuous action, gives rise to sukham. Papa, vicious action, gives rise to dukkham, pain. Pleasure and pain. Sukham, dukkham. Papa, punya, papa. Right? So generally speaking, that is why people say, Swamiji, what bad karma did I perform? Naturally, because this is what has been taught. That the pain that we experience in the present must be the result of some papa karma. The pleasure that we experience must be the result of some punya karma. Swamiji, then, what have I done? What papa karma must I have done to go through this suffering? But they said, we have no way of saying that, nor can we say that what is happening to me is the result of papa karma, because pain is not always a punishment. We think that pain is punishment. Pain is a blessing. If pain was not there in our life, then we would not survive. If while walking, for example, I happen to hit something, and then there is immediate pain in my thumb or my toe, and then I take care of it. Suppose there is no pain, then my toe may suffer a fracture, I may not take therapy. There are children born with this particular kind of disease, and I don't remember the name of the disease, they don't have that sensation. They do not have sensation of pain. So they run around and they collide with the wall and they get hurt, they don't feel. So you think that's a blessing? You don't feel? No, it's not a blessing, because they don't take care of that thing. He may suffer a fracture and doesn't take care because doesn't feel pain. So that way pain is not a curse, it is not a punishment, it is in fact something that is there to draw our attention that something is violated and then we should take care of it. So pleasure and pain. Now, so these karmas are mentioned of three kinds. So now we keep on performing karma, right? They keep on producing results. Some of them are experienced during this lifetime, and those karmas not experienced during this lifetime, what happens to them? They get accumulated in our account, like a bank deposit. So it's constant depositing in the bank. Some of them, those who are excess, this is what they call the CD or FD or what is it? FD, okay. Fixed deposit. So here they call it something else. So FD, all right. So thus, those karma that are not used by me, they all accumulated FD, Over so many lifetimes, so many karmas I performed, they all accumulated, and therefore a huge FD I have accumulated over many past births. Of that, something becomes mature. Of that FD, something mature, and that mature is what we are born with. That's called prarabdha karma, those which are mature, which we experience during this lifetime. Again, we produce new karma, and thus some of them we experience, some of them we accumulate. So thus karmas not experienced get accumulated in a huge accumulation of karma from the past births, part of which is fructified, which gives rise to this life. During this life, we perform karma. Some results are experienced, some are accumulated. Like traveling in Indian train when we are small, traveling, then those hawkers come. Some of them bring some, some eatables and things like that, or some toys. So you nag your parents, and I want this and I want that, and so on. You get some eatable stuff, and then you eat and finish. You get some toys, and they get accumulated. So something is exhausted right away, something gets accumulated. So some karma is experienced right away, some karma gets accumulated. The accumulation, part of it is experienced in this lifetime, rest all gets accumulated. So theoretically, over past many births, we accumulated countless karmas. They are called sanchita. Sanchita means very well collected, very well accumulated, and they are standing in our account for being experienced someday. Part of that becomes fructified, that is called prarabdha, destiny, for this lifetime. So sanchita karma, prarabdha karma. Agami, I keep on performing karma now, of which result comes in future. So they will explain this karmas here. Now these karmas are discussed with reference to a Jivan Mukta. With reference to, they are all applicable to us also, but since the discussion is about the liberated while living, these karmas are discussed here in the context of the one that is liberated while living. So go to next page, 42. The first line. Agami karma kim. The translation. What is this agami karma of the wise man? The answer is given. Jnanotpatti anantaram jnani deha kritam punya papa rupam karma yadasti tat agami ityabhidhiyate. Jnanotpatti anantaram, after the taking place of knowledge, the wise person, the thing is that he is liberated and still living. So he lives a life. When he lives a life like we do, then he also performs actions. So what happens to his actions now? Is he accountable for the result of his actions? Then he will be bound. So when we perform the actions, we become accountable for their outcome. And therefore, if we cannot exhaust them in this lifetime, you have to take the next birth. The wise person also appears to be performing karma like us. That means that he also produces results. And if he cannot finish them in this lifetime, then he also will be required to be born next lifetime. Then where is the liberation? Then he is not free from the chain of birth and death. As I said, he is free from karma because he is free from the kartrutva, the sense of doership. He appears to perform karma from our standpoint, but does not perform karma from his standpoint. Remember the example of an actor playing the role, let us say, of a beggar. From the standpoint of the audience, that person is begging on the stage. From his own standpoint, he is not begging. You follow? He is an actor, a very wealthy person. He has only taken the role of a beggar. But he performs his role so effectively that the audience thinks that he is a real beggar. But within him, he knows, he is aware of his identity, knows that I'm a wealthy person, I'm not begging. He's begging and still not begging. He's begging from standpoint of audience, not begging from his own standpoint. So wise person also appears to be performing karma from the standpoint of others. From his own standpoint, he does not perform action. That's the reason why he is not bound by action. Karma does not bind. The kartrutva, the notion that I am performing karma, that is what binds. Now Jnani, the wise person, doesn't have. He doesn't identify. He doesn't brand himself as a speaker. He doesn't brand himself as a hearer. He doesn't brand himself as a doer of the action. He knows that I am, in my presence, actions are being performed. Therefore, since he did not perform action, he is not accountable for the outcome. Outwardly, he looks like doing the same thing that we do. Inwardly, he knows, I don't do anything. So says Jnanotpatti Anantaram, after taking place of the knowledge, Jnani Dehikrutam, the action performed by the body of the wise person. Wise person doesn't perform the action. We also don't perform action, but we think we do. He knows he does not. He knows that his body, mind, sense complex performs actions in his presence. So says Jnani Dehikrutam, the action like Punya Papa, virtue and vice, performed by his body. That is called Agami Karma. Aga means that which will fructify in future. Next karma, Sanchitam karma. Samyak chitam, very well accumulated. That is very well, accumulated in my account. So next sentence is Sanchitam karma. Kim. What is sanchita karma? What is accumulated in the past? Answer is given. Ananta koti janmanam bijabhutam sata yata karma jatam purvarjitam tisthati tatsanchitam jneyam. Now the question is, Swamiji, when did all this start? When did I become ignorant? When did I become bound? When did this thing start? What was it before I became bound? Why did I become bound? How was I before I became bound? What is the first karma performed? These questions naturally arise in our mind. But Swami, there was a time when there was no karma in my account. That's when we began. So what was that situation? And why did I perform karma? So answer that Vedanta gives is, there is no first thing. There is no beginning to anything. You cannot arrive at the beginning of anything. What was a spot before it began? It was clay. What was it before it was clay? It was earth. What was it before it was earth? Molecules. What was that? Atoms. If you keep on stretching this inquiry, you come to a time beginningless, because the cause must be present for the effect to be there. The clay must be there for the pot to be there. The earth must be there for clay to be there. The molecules must be there for earth to be there. So cause has to be there for the effect to be there. And therefore, what is the first one? Is it the chicken or the egg? Or in Sanskrit, it is Bijankura Nyaya. Did the seed come first or the sprout come first? Seed cannot be unless sprout was there. Sprout cannot be unless seed was there. Chicken cannot be unless egg was there. Egg cannot be unless chicken was there. So what was the first one? So first cannot be determined. There is no beginning. Therefore, since how long is this process going on? Swamiji, how many births did I take in the past? No answer? Countless births. That's all we can say. This is going on since when? From the time beginningless. How many embodiments did I go through? Countless. So how many karma did I accumulate? Countless. So if I had experienced those karma, when did I never end? Because the countless karma that I accumulated can theoretically give rise to countless births. Again, in those births, I will perform more karma, accumulate more, and therefore there is no end to this process of karma, karma phala, the birth and death. So this says, Ananta Koti Janmanam Bija Bhudam, all the karma which is accumulated in an account can theoretically give rise to countless births. Purvajitam, that which has been accumulated in the past, that sanchitam gives us sanchita. And said chi means to accumulate. Sanchaya, accumulation. Sanchita, accumulated. That is very well accumulated, called sanchitam karma. In our account. Don't take all these things too seriously, by the way, and start thinking, Swamiji, this is just for your general information, not, to be bothered about it and some new complexes to be created, new anxieties to be created. This is just for general information. Vedanta doesn't pay any attention to karma and stuff like that. We don't care. What after death? I don't care. Who bothers? Swamiji, what will happen after I die? Why should you worry? You don't know. Do you remember what you were in the past? No. Why do you worry? You'll forget everything. People are so much worried, Swamiji. What will happen? None. Don't bother. Because you don't know. If you don't know what we were in the past anyway, so why worry? Oh, what have you done? You don't know. When you don't know, don't bother. So Vedantin does not, he talks about all these things but doesn't bother about it. It's karma phala, cause, effect. This is just to explain life because people have questions. So you must have answers. If they don't get answers, then they can't proceed further. They get stuck. Therefore, for them to resolve, these explanations are given. So now proceed further. Let us go ahead. Otherwise we get stuck in our life. Sometimes we do not get answers and then we get stuck. So answers are given. Oh yeah, I'm now, I understand. Okay, go ahead. Go to page 43. Prarabdham karma kimiti chet. We will ask, what is prarabdha? Prarabdha, pra plus arabdha becomes prarabdha. A plus rabdha becomes arabdha. Arambha. Arambha means beginning. That we all use in our regional languages. So arabdha means that which has begun. Arambha means beginning. Arabdha in Sanskrit means that which has begun. Pra means very well. Prarabdha which has very well begun. Prarabdha. So what does prarabdha karma do? The next one says, idam shariram utpadya ihaloke eva sukha dukkhadi pradam yat karma tat prarabdham bhogena nashtam bhavati prarabdha karmana bhogadeva kshayah iti. Idam shariram utpadya, having created this body. So what created this body? Past karma. So that portion of the past karma, we have lots of karma in our accumulated in our account, of which some have fructified to give rise to this embodiment, this birth. So that part of the karma which has fructified, like the CD has, matured. So we have lots of savings, lots of CDs are there. Something has matured to give rise to this birth. Sukha dukkhadi pradam. So we experience pleasure and pain. Result of what? Our past karma. Past punya karma, virtuous actions give rise to pleasure. Past vicious actions, papa karma give rise to pain, pleasure and pain. How do you get rid of that? Bhogena nashtam bhavati. You would experience a result and then only it gets exhausted. The other karmas get exhausted by knowledge. This karma gets exhausted only by experience. The sanchita karma, agami karma, all of them get destroyed by knowing I am akarta, I am actionless, I don't do anything. Those karmas are gone. But prarabdha karma, which has given us to this body, does not get exhausted by knowledge, it just exhausted by experience. Other karma, sanchita karma, accumulated in the past, agami karma, what I am doing now, they get exhausted by knowledge. But prarabdha karma, the destiny which has given rise to this body and this life, that does not get exhausted by knowledge. The wise person knows, and still for that wise person also, the karma does not, he also has to live his life. And prarabdha karma brings pleasure and pain, therefore a wise person also is not free from the experience of pleasure and pain. He can also fall sick, he can also have pain, he can also all the ordinary things. So even saints also have gone through lots of pleasure and pain. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had, cancer at the end, Ramana Maharshi also had cancer at the end, etc. like that. So prarabdha is what does its job. So what have I done, Swamiji? I don't know. What did Ramana Maharshi do? We don't know. And still, he went through that. What did Ramakrishna Paramahamsa do? Nothing. And still, so this is prarabdha karma, and then we don't have to blame ourselves. Oh, I am suffering this pain, I must have done some papa karma. How do you know? So, there is no way of knowing that, because we know there is no saint who has not suffered in his life. All saints of any country, of any tradition, all of them have gone through a lot of penance and a lot of pain. Almost without exception. And the pain is not something that is unique to us. It is something that everybody goes through. And therefore it's not the result of something bad that I have done. It's just a part of the life. Pleasure and pain are part of life. And for that, we should not take the credit that I must have done something, right or wrong. It's all part of life. Therefore, a wise person also is not free from this part of life. And wise person also confront painful situation and pleasant situation. So how much suffering they go through, we have seen that. Can't avoid it. What is it? Prarabdha. But they haven't done anything and we don't see anything that they have done in this life to suffer. No, they have not. Then why do they suffer? Bhagavan knows. So, if pain comes in our life does not mean that we have done something. God knows we may have done something sometime. Not that we can see now. But generally speaking, the prarabdha karma will get exhausted only by experiencing the result, meaning that a wise person also has to go through the life and go through the various situations that his destiny brings. And those situations may be favorable, unfavorable, pleasant, painful. The wise person also has to go through that. So from our standpoint, they also suffer. From their standpoint, they don't. What suffers is the body and mind. Since a wise person not identified with the body and mind, from their standpoint, they don't suffer. So one day our Swamiji, in temple, the last time that he came, it was the last year also, he was going to leave after a month or so. He came to Sarasburg in July of 2015, and he was very unwell and not able to do anything. So once a week he may come to the temple because camp is going on. So once a week he can't even address people, but whatever. Says, I don't see, I don't hear, I cannot see, I cannot hear, I cannot walk, but I'm well. I cannot see, I cannot hear, I cannot walk, but I'm well. Now, being well is something that is for you. That you cannot see, prarabdha. Cannot hear, prarabdha. Cannot walk, prarabdha. But that you're unhappy or happy is your thing. That I feel unhappy is not prarabdha, is my doing. I feel happy is my doing. And that's what we have to do that is what we have to do in our life, is that we have to construct our mind. We have to shape our mind like a sculpture shapes a rough and tough stone and brings out a beautiful form. So also our mind has that inner beauty. And what we have to do is to bring out that inner beauty. So we have to become our own sculptor and shape ourselves. By what? By right karma. Doing what is right. Following the right values, right attitudes. Doing what is right. Showing the courage to do because what is right requires courage. To do what is right very often requires courage. Because it very often involves putting up with some pain. Otherwise everybody would do right. If right was easy, then who will not do it? Nobody loves wrong thing. Nobody loves to be a sinner. Nobody wants to be a violent person. Nobody wants to be an evil person. Nobody. You find what we call an evil person, it is only helplessly so, not by choice. Given choice, everybody would want to be a good person. Given choice, everybody would want to be a loving and kind person. When you find a cruel person, he is not by choice, helplessly so. And I'm saying this, by the way, so that we understand the people whom we dismiss as cruel and as terrorists and this and violent. Yes, they are a menace to society, therefore you have to manage them. That is quite all right. You have to restrain them. You can't leave them, free in the society to hurt other people. But our own attitude towards them should be that they are these violent people, what we call the terrorists or whatever it is. They are not by choice. This is how they are, helplessly. Arjuna asked this question in Bhagavad Gita. There is a statement about Duryodhana. Duryodhana is said to have said. We don't know when he said that. He said, Janami dharmam, nachame pravrittihi, janami adharmam, nachame nivrittihi, kenapi devena, rudisthitena, yatha niyuktosmi, tatha karomi. I know what is right, Duryodhana says, but I cannot make myself do that. I know what is wrong, but I cannot give it up. Why is it so? There is someone sitting within me. Whichever way that one dictates, that's what I do. That means the person is helpless. Not that he wants to do something evil. Something makes him do evil things. If given choice, everybody would want a good person. Given choice, everybody will want an honest person, a good person, a kind, charitable person. Given a choice. So who has restrained him? He feels restrained for the reasons known to him or her. Sometimes we also get angry. We also do things. Not that later on we regret. Not that we would have liked to do that. We find it happens. We don't get angry. Anger happens. And so when we find this kind of karma, we should know that basically everybody loves to be a good person, loves to be a kind person, loves to be a charitable person. If you find a person opposite of that, it is not out of choice, it is helplessly so. Given choice, everybody would want to be a kind, good person. So we understand others. And therefore we have hatred with some people. We hate people, they're dishonest, they're all corrupt people. But it's choicelessly so. No, so he's not choiceless. He is a very powerful person, he does it very deliberately. How do you say it's choiceless? He plans it. It's a premeditated murder. You can't say it's helpless. But all premeditation also went on out of helplessness. Something prompted him to do. Because nobody wants to be killed. And therefore everybody knows that killing or hurting somebody is wrong. So when I hurt somebody, I know I am doing something wrong. So nobody would want to do it deliberately or out of helplessness. Anyway, so prarabdha karma destiny brings all kinds of situations before you. And a wise person also is confronted with a variety of situations, and he or she also has to go through those experiences. All right. Hopefully the rest of the section will complete tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Any questions? Before we close, any quick questions? Did you? Did?
Yeah, I have a question.
Hmm.
We talked about doing karma, but being aware that we are not really the karta.
Hmm.
How do you marry this with the concept of work as worship?
Work as worship when I believe that I am doing things. Worship is for the devotee, and while performing karma, if I become a devotee, then the sense of doership is there. In worship also, the sense of doership is there. When sense of doership is you are free, the worship has done its job. So when you perform your karma as a devotee of the Lord, then your karma becomes worship. The result of all that is that you become free from the very sense of doership. You become free, liberated. You'll be completing in a few minutes.
Yesterday, I asked you a similar question about we are not the doers of we are not doing the karmas because we are just
Witness.
witnessing it.
Hmm.
I asked you then, who's accountable for the karmas? If I've done, if I did perform those karmas that were not good, for example, then who's responsible? So you said it goes into the cosmic. Someone has to pay for it, right? It's being collected, like you say, in a fixed deposit to be used or for us to sort of, there's an account, we have to account for it eventually in some lifetime, right?
Yeah, but not you as an individual because you did not do. If it goes into cosmos, then countless people.
So we can, if we do something, for example, if we do something wrong because we're helpless, okay, because of the situation requires it, that means, but we believe that we have not done it. It's the organ of speech that hurt somebody or something. So someone else will pay for it?
By the way, this is a theoretical question. That when you did say something which was hurtful, you were already involved. It could not be that you were a witness and still said something that is hurtful. That cannot be.
So the witness should stop the organ of speech from saying it, right?
Organ of speech, you can attain the state of witness when organ of speech has become free from all those tendencies. By your meditations or your efforts, spiritual efforts, when you have made your personality completely pure, that is when you can be witness.
One has to be pure.
Swamiji, my question.
Hmm.
Swamiji, so how we have all this prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, so to be free from all of them if we want to, so we all have to reach to the stage of vairagya, like saint stage.
Yes,
So that's the ultimate end, right?
that's the ultimate goal. Everybody has to be and everybody can be. For being a saint, you don't have to go to a forest. You can remain where you are and you can be a saint. Hmm?
We all want to be free. We don't
But
want
freedom doesn't mean you have to go to forest. Freedom is something internal, not external.
to from here, like just, that's it. We are
But
done.
then you are free. If you want to go to forest, well, nobody stops you. All I am saying is that you don't have to go to forest to be free. If you wish to go, you may as well.
But being in the family and society, you don't feel this kind of freedom. You always feel one life, I think we have to go to this ashram life to attain that kind of freedom.
Yeah, but That will happen only when you train yourself during this life. While being active, you train yourself that you become pure. All the activities and this is all meant for inner purification. You can retire after this has done the job of purifying you, then you can retire. Until then, even if you retire and carry the impurity with you, it won't help you much.
We're trying to work on ourselves.
Surely, everybody is working. Everybody is working, including the, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Swamiji, Agami karma brings results in
Future.
next life, not in present life.
No, in present life. In future.
In future, even in present life.
Also, yeah.
So it can be either in this life or it can
Depend on kind of karma.
it can become also part of Sanchit karma and result in the next life.
Yeah, it can. Okay, so we'll conclude. Please receive prasad.